Hi and welcome to video 4 of our PSMT guideline video series. And so in this video we're going to be talking about the Solve Criterion. Let's jump there now. Okay, so this is the Solve Criterion. And you'll see here that this one is worth up to 7 marks. It's actually our biggest criterion and it's where the mathematics happens. So that's an important feature to note. Now the important thing here though is to recognise that there are 13 other marks out of 20 that are discussion-based, that are building up an understanding of how you're going to solve, that are communicating. So solve and the mathematics is only 35%, 7 out of 20. So keep that in mind as well. We are split into 5 bands. I'm not going to worry about the bottom 2 or even the 2, 3. Really, it's pretty trivial to get some work done and get a 3 in solve. The 3 is pretty easy to get to. The 4, 5, 6, 7 though is a bit trickier. We're going to talk a lot about how to get that 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to start with the top, we'll aim high, and then we'll work our way down. So in Solve, we've got 3 criteria. The first one is accurate use of complex procedures to reach a valid solution. So we've got some definitions of words that we need to provide here and consider. So let's have a look at them. Firstly, accurate. To be accurate, you must have used all the procedures correctly and have correct numerical results. So we're looking for that at the 6, 7 level. And if I flip back, you'll note here at the 4, 5 level, use of complex procedures, not accurate use of. That's the difference. Complex, your chosen procedures are considered complex within the curriculum you're working on, and it will typically mean that you're using procedures from now, from this unit. You know, if you're doing a database one, you're not just relying on pie charts and bar charts, but you're actually applying stem and leaf and box plots or whatever it is that's important for this unit. So just keep that in mind. Complex doesn't mean that you have to go off and find new things that you've never been taught. It just means that you have to use the things that you've been taught now and use them well. Valid. Your solution is correct, appropriate, meets the expectation of the task, and is supported by the mathematics. So a valid solution will cover all those things. And that's how we're going to get to that 6, 7 range. So in summary, do the complex math correctly. The second one is a discerning application of mathematical concepts and techniques relevant to the task. So there's a couple of key terms here as well. Firstly, discerning. Discerning means that you have correctly chosen the mathematics. So you could have a complex procedure, but it might be a procedure that's not overly relevant, which means that maybe you get the first dot point, but you don't get the second dot point. Discerning means that everything you've done has been done for a reason and for the correct reason. Relevant is that it's relevant to the task, which kind of ties into part of discerning. So discerning application of mathematical concepts and techniques that are relevant to the task. So just keep in mind these definitions and use them. So make good choices to solve the problem. There you go, there's our summary. The third dot point is accurate and appropriate use of technology. Now we don't want you to spend a lot of time thinking about this one, because really you should be using technology naturally for these tasks, and you don't have to go and do a lot of planning. What is required? A good use of technology. So that may be Excel, Word, or other platforms that you may use, Desmos or another graphing tool, online research, online solver, or an online financial calculator. Then there's others depending on the task you're doing. So we've run specialist math tasks where they've used online 3D vector graphers or things like that. So we're looking to see you're using appropriate technology that is used accurately and makes sense for the task. Now you don't have to strain yourself to get a 6, 7 here. If you're doing complex procedures and you're being discerning, then your technology will probably fall in line, as long as you've used some. Whereas you're going to drop down that technology level as you simplify the procedures, because the simplest of the technology follows in suit. Make it obvious that you've used technology, but you do not need a technology section. There's some documents out there floating around the ether that say you have to have a section that says technology used and then write it up. That's really a waste of word count. It's a waste of room in your 10 pages, and it doesn't provide you any marks. As long as it's clear that you've done things, you will get the marks for technology. A 4, 5 level, instead of accurate use, we've just got use of complex procedures. Instead of valid solution, we've got reasonable solution. So we're talking about, well, the solution's good. Maybe not perfect, but it's good. And we've used some complex procedures, so we're good. There is a note here, and this is another thing we've learned in our pathway of being confirmers and working for QAA, and that is that you have to have a solution to get this grade. And there's been times in the past where people have gone through and done lots of great maths, but not actually come up with a solution, or certainly not communicated the solution, just done a lot of maths. If you don't provide a solution to the task and answer all the questions in the task sheet, we can't give you this dot point, and if we can't give you this dot point, the most you can get is a 4. You could get the other 2 and end up with a 4 out of 7. So make sure that you solve every problem you ask in the task sheet, state your solution, and state it again in your conclusion would be a good idea. So that's the summary of the solve session. There's not a lot to it, and it does differ depending on the task. So make sure that you ask questions and you understand how to reach those criteria, and be constantly referring back to the criteria in the sense that you actually go and use that information. Thanks for watching.